Good evening, my friends. Tonight I am going to reveal to you the fastest way to destroy doubt that I have ever discovered. Not manage it, not reduce it, but completely kill it in 30 seconds or less. You see, most people spend years battling doubt. They fight it, they struggle against it, they try to overcome it through positive thinking and affirmations. But doubt keeps returning, again and again, like an unwelcome guest who refuses to leave. Tonight, you will learn why doubt persists. And more importantly, you will learn the single technique that murders doubt instantly before it can take root in your consciousness. Are you ready? Then let us begin. First, let me show you what doubt really is. Most people misunderstand doubt completely. They think doubt is a natural response to uncertainty. They think doubt is reasonable, logical, even protective. But this is not true. Doubt is not a response to lack of evidence. Doubt is a response to divided consciousness. Let me explain. When you doubt, what are you really doing? You are holding two opposing realities in your mind simultaneously. You are saying, I have my desire, while simultaneously saying, I do not have my desire. You are affirming fulfillment, while denying fulfillment. You are trying to live in two states at once. And consciousness cannot exist in two states simultaneously. Consciousness must choose. When you try to hold both having and not having, consciousness defaults to the state that feels more real to you. And for most people, the current physical circumstances feel more real than the imagined desire. This is why doubt feels so powerful. It is not actually powerful. It is simply the result of being double-minded, of trying to face two directions at once. Now let me show you the mistake that keeps doubt alive in most people's minds. When doubt appears, most people try to fight it. They try to argue with it. They try to convince themselves it is wrong. They pile affirmations on top of it. They search for evidence to disprove it. They exhaust themselves battling this invisible enemy. But here is what you must understand. Every time you fight doubt, you are giving it reality. Every time you argue with it, you are acknowledging its existence. Every time you try to overcome it, you are admitting it has power over you. You cannot kill doubt by fighting it. Fighting doubt is like fighting your shadow. The more you struggle against it, the more real it becomes. So what is the answer? How do you kill doubt in 30 seconds? The answer is so simple that most people miss it entirely. You do not kill doubt by fighting it. You kill doubt by refusing to recognize its existence. Here's the technique, and I want you to memorize it exactly. The moment doubt appears in your mind, the instant you feel that familiar questioning, that wavering, that but what if this doesn't work, you stop. You do not engage with it. You do not argue with it. You do not try to overcome it. Instead, you immediately return to the assumption of the wish fulfilled. Not after you deal with the doubt. Not after you convince yourself it is wrong. Immediately. Within 30 seconds of doubt appearing, you redirect your entire attention back to the feeling of your desire already accomplished. Let me show you exactly how this works in practice. You are assuming you are wealthy. Suddenly doubt appears. But I have no money in my bank account right now. How can this work? Most people stop here. They engage with the doubt. They try to answer its question. They search for logical explanations. And in doing so, they give the doubt 30 minutes. 30 hours, 30 days to poison their consciousness. But you who are learning this technique, do something different. The instant that doubt appears, within 5 seconds, you catch it. And you say to yourself, calmly and firmly, I am not interested in that conversation. And immediately within the next 25 seconds, you return to your assumption. You feel the reality of being wealthy. You remember what it feels like to have abundance. You occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. You do not argue with the doubt. You do not try to disprove it. You simply refuse to give it your attention, and you immediately redirect that attention to the state you choose to occupy. This is how you kill doubt in 30 seconds. Not by fighting it, but by starving it of the only thing that keeps it alive, your attention. Now let me tell you why the timing is so critical. Doubt is like a seed. When it first appears in your mind, it is small and weak. It has no root. It has no power. It is just a passing thought. But if you give it your attention, if you engage with it, argue with it, try to resolve it, that seed begins to take root. Within 30 seconds of continuous attention, doubt begins to feel real. Within a few minutes, it feels like a legitimate problem. Within an hour, it feels like truth. This is why you must catch doubt immediately. The moment it appears, you have a small window, approximately 30 seconds, where it is still weak, still rootless, still easy to dismiss. If you return to your assumption within this window, the doubt dies. It never gets the chance to take root. It never gets the chance to feel real. It simply withers and disappears, because you gave it no soil to grow in. But if you wait, if you let doubt sit in your consciousness for minutes or hours, it becomes much harder to remove. Not impossible, but harder. This is why speed matters. This is why you must kill doubt the moment it appears. Here is how you train yourself in this technique. For the next 7 days, I want you to become a doubt hunter. Your job is not to eliminate doubt from appearing. That is impossible and unnecessary. Your job is to catch it the moment it appears and redirect within 30 seconds. Keep a simple mental count. When doubt appears, notice it. Say to yourself, there is doubt. Do not judge it. Do not fear it. Simply observe it. Then immediately, and I mean within 5 seconds, dismiss it. You can use any phrase that works for you, not interested. That's not my reality. I live from the end. I am not entertaining that thought. Then within the remaining 25 seconds, return completely to your assumption. Feel the wish fulfilled. Occupy the state. Make it so real that there is no room for anything else. At first, this will require conscious effort. Doubt will appear frequently, and you will have to catch it again and again. But this is good. Every time you catch doubt and redirect within 30 seconds, you are training your consciousness. You are building a new habit. After a few days of this practice, something remarkable happens. Doubt begins to appear less frequently, and when it does appear, it dissolves almost instantly, because your consciousness has learned that doubt gets no attention, no engagement, no reality in your world. A woman came to me who had been trying to manifest a relationship for 2 years. She said she believed in the law. She practiced her techniques daily. But nothing had manifested, and she was losing hope. I asked her what happened when she practiced her technique. She said, I imagine myself in a loving relationship. I feel how wonderful it is. But then doubt comes, and I spend the rest of the day trying to convince myself it will work, trying to find proof, trying to overcome my doubts. I said, there is your problem. You are spending 2 minutes in the state of the wish fulfilled and 2 hours in the state of doubt. Of course, nothing manifests. You are giving 98% of your attention to the wrong state. I taught her this 30-second technique. I said, for 1 week, your only job is to catch doubt within 30 seconds and return to your assumption. Do not try to overcome doubt. Do not try to resolve it. Just notice it and redirect immediately. She practiced this faithfully, and within 3 days she noticed something astonishing. Her overall feeling about the desire completely changed. She stopped feeling anxious and desperate. She stopped questioning whether it would work. Not because she convinced herself, but because she stopped giving doubt the attention it needed to feel real. Within 2 weeks, she met someone who became exactly the partner she had imagined. But more importantly, she learned something that would serve her for the rest of her life. Doubt has no power except the power you give it through your attention. Let me tell you something profound. Doubt and faith are not opposites. They are the same thing pointed in different directions. Both doubt and faith are forms of assumption. When you doubt, you are assuming something negative will happen. When you have faith, you are assuming something positive will happen. Both are assumptions about the future. Both are creative. Both manifest. The question is not whether you will assume. You are always assuming something. The question is, which assumption will you give your attention to? When you practice the 30-second technique, you are not building faith by destroying doubt. You are simply choosing which assumption to feed with your attention. Doubt appears, redirect within 30 seconds to the wish fulfilled. Doubt appears again, redirect within 30 seconds. Again and again, every single time, without exception. This is not suppression. Suppression is pushing something down while still giving it energy. This is replacement. You are replacing one assumption with another so quickly that the unwanted assumption never gets the chance to take root. Now let me reveal to you what happens when you practice this technique consistently. After some time, it varies for each person, but usually within 2 to 4 weeks, something permanent shifts. Doubt stops appearing frequently, and when it does appear, it dissolves so quickly that you barely notice it. Your consciousness has been retrained. It has learned that the assumption of the wish fulfilled is the only reality you acknowledge. This is not about becoming delusional or ignoring reality. This is about understanding that there are infinite possible realities, and the one you give your sustained attention to is the one that becomes your experienced reality. When doubt appears and you immediately return to your assumption within 30 seconds, you are making a choice. You are saying, "This is the reality I choose to occupy. This is the assumption I choose to make real through my attention." And when you make this choice consistently, doubt loses its power completely. It becomes like background noise that you no longer hear. Your consciousness becomes so firmly established in the state of the wish fulfilled that nothing can shake it. So here is what I want you to do. Starting this very moment, choose one desire, just one, that you are working to manifest. It could be anything: money, love, health, success, anything your heart desires. Now make a firm decision. For the next 7 days, you are going to practice the 30-second rule with absolute commitment. Every single time doubt appears regarding this desire, you will catch it within 5 seconds and redirect to your assumption within the remaining 25 seconds. No exceptions, no negotiations. No, but this doubt seems reasonable, or but I need to figure this out first. Every doubt, every time, immediate redirect within 30 seconds. This is your only job. Not to manifest your desire, not to figure out how it will happen, not to look for signs, just to catch doubt and redirect within 30 seconds. Do this faithfully for 7 days, and you will discover something extraordinary. Doubt will lose its grip on you. The assumption of your wish fulfilled will become natural, effortless, automatic. And when doubt no longer occupies your consciousness, when your entire attention is on the wish fulfilled, manifestation becomes inevitable. The bridge of incidents builds itself. The circumstances rearrange themselves. Your desire appears in your world, because it has become the only reality you acknowledge in your consciousness. Let me leave you with this final truth. Doubt is not your enemy. It is simply misplaced attention. When you learn to redirect that attention immediately, doubt dies. Not because you fought it, but because you stopped feeding it. Kill doubt by ignoring it. Starve it of your attention, and feed your assumption of the wish fulfilled with every ounce of consciousness you possess. 30 seconds, that is all it takes. Catch the doubt, dismiss it, and return to the wish fulfilled. It takes 30 seconds to kill doubt forever. From this moment forward, you have a new rule. Doubt gets 30 seconds or less. If it appears, it dies within 30 seconds through your immediate return to the state of the wish fulfilled. This is the technique. This is how you kill doubt instantly, how you become unmovable in your assumption. Practice this, and watch as doubt disappears from your consciousness. And when doubt disappears, manifestation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Thank you and good evening. As always, thank you for joining me on this journey into the depths of consciousness. Remember, you are not here by accident. You are here because your soul is ready for this truth. Take these teachings and let them transform not just your mind, but your entire reality. Until we meet again in consciousness, keep assuming your greatness and living from the end of your desires. This is Best of Lectures, and I'll see you in the next video. We often think that our reality is formed by the actions we take, the circumstances we face, or the people who cross our path. But the truth is much more profound and far-reaching. The essence of our reality, the experiences that fill our days and the events that shape our lives are not merely the result of outward conditions. They are the fruit of our inner dialogue, the silent conversation we carry within ourselves every day. There is a great secret that many are unaware of, but once understood, it holds the key to transforming your world. This secret is the power of inner talking. Everything you see, touch, and experience in your life is the direct result of your habitual inner conversations. What you whisper to yourself in the quiet moments, what you persistently assume, what you rehearse in your mind over and over again, will eventually express itself in your outer world. Whether you are aware of it or not, your inner talk is the architect of your reality. If you want to understand your current life, look at the conversations you've been having with yourself. Reflect for a moment on the thoughts that occupy your mind when you're alone, those fleeting whispers that seem to come and go without much notice. Are they filled with joy, hope, and expectation? Or are they laced with doubt, fear, and frustration? This is important to observe because your life is a mirror, reflecting back to you the dominant tone of your inner talking. Perhaps you've noticed that when you dwell on a certain worry, it seems to manifest in your life, often in surprising ways. Or maybe you've experienced the opposite when you're filled with enthusiasm and optimism. Good things seem to come your way. This is not coincidence. It is the direct result of the conversations happening within your own mind. Many of us are unaware of the tremendous power our inner dialogue holds. We speak to ourselves in ways that we would never allow others to speak to us, filling our minds with criticism, doubt, and negative assumptions. We rehearse scenarios of failure, rejection, or disappointment, and then, to our dismay, we see these very things materialize in our lives. But once you grasp the truth that your inner talk shapes your world, you can begin to take control of this conversation. You can direct your inner speech in ways that align with the life you truly desire. The first step is to become aware of the tone and content of your inner conversations. Pay attention to the words and images that dominate your thoughts throughout the day. Are you affirming your desires, or are you negating them with worry and doubt? Do you see yourself as successful and capable, or do you belittle your own abilities and potential? This awareness is critical because your habitual inner talking is like a script, directing the course of your life. If the script is filled with negativity, the play of your life will reflect that. But if the script is filled with joy, faith, and expectation, then your life will unfold in ways that mirror those qualities. As you begin to notice the content of your inner speech, the next step is to deliberately change it. This is not a process of forcing or struggling. Rather, it is a gentle and consistent practice of shifting your attention from negative or limiting thoughts to those that affirm your desires. You don't need to constantly monitor every thought, but you do need to persistently return your focus to the kind of inner conversation that supports your dreams. Imagine for a moment that you are already living the life you desire. In this imagined reality, how do you talk to yourself? What do you say when you think of your goals, your relationships, or your circumstances? Begin to adopt this new inner conversation as if it were already true. Speak to yourself in ways that reflect the fulfillment of your desires. Say to yourself, I am successful, I am loved, I am prosperous, even if your outer world has yet to reflect these truths. Persist in this new inner dialogue and watch as your external reality begins to conform to the new mental picture you've created. This may sound too simple, but the simplicity of this practice is its power. The words you speak to yourself carry a vibration, and that vibration attracts corresponding experiences into your life. When you engage in inner conversations that are aligned with the life you wish to live, you are sending out a signal to the universe, and the universe responds in kind. This is a law, as certain and unchangeable as the law of gravity. It is important to remember that you do not need to see immediate results to know that this process is working. Just as a seed planted in the soil takes time to grow into a tree, your new inner conversations take time to manifest in the physical world. But if you persist in speaking to yourself as though your desires were already fulfilled, if you make it a habit to dwell in the mental state of your wishes being realized, you will begin to see evidence of this in your life. Do not be discouraged if, at first, your outer world seems unchanged. The real work is happening within. The changes you seek are first taking place on the unseen level of consciousness, and they will eventually be reflected in your external circumstances. Trust in the process and continue to engage in inner talking that supports your dreams. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when old habits of thought try to reassert themselves. This is normal. But when you notice this happening, gently bring your attention back to the inner dialogue you wish to cultivate. Speak to yourself with kindness and patience as you would to a dear friend who is in need of encouragement. Remind yourself that your inner talk creates your reality and that by changing your thoughts, you are changing the course of your life. The key to success in this practice is consistency. It is not enough to engage in positive inner talking for a few moments and then return to old habits of thought. You must make it a daily practice, a new way of being. Begin each day with the intention to speak to yourself in ways that affirm your desires. When you catch yourself slipping into negative or limiting thoughts, gently correct the course and return to the inner conversation that aligns with your dreams. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Over time, your new inner dialogue will become your natural way of thinking, and you will find that your life begins to reflect the beauty and abundance of your new mental state. The people, circumstances, and opportunities that appear in your life will seem to align effortlessly with your desires, as though the universe itself is conspiring in your favor. But in truth, it is your own consciousness that has been directing the show all along. There is no limit to what you can achieve when you harness the power of inner talking. The same process that brings small changes can bring great transformations. Whether your desire is for health, wealth, love, or personal fulfillment, the principle is the same. Speak to yourself as though your dreams are already realized, and persist in this conversation until your outer world reflects the inner state you have cultivated. This is not wishful thinking or empty affirmation. It is the creative power of your mind in action. Every time you engage in inner talking, you are planting seeds in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. With patience and persistence, those seeds will grow and bear fruit in your life. The understanding that inner talking shapes reality is a profound realization that has the power to transform your life from the inside out. The very fabric of your existence is woven from the thoughts you hold within, the quiet conversations you have with yourself, and the inner dialogue that constantly runs through your mind. This is not just a superficial idea, but a fundamental truth that operates at a deep level of consciousness. It reveals that the life you are currently living is not merely a product of external forces or random events, but a direct reflection of your inner state. When we think of creating or shaping our reality, we often look to the external world, focusing on actions, circumstances, or the behavior of others. We believe that if we can control or manipulate the outer conditions of our lives, we can bring about the changes we desire. However, the root of creation lies not in the external, but in the internal. The invisible conversations that occur in the mind are the true architects of our experience. Your inner talk, whether you are conscious of it or not, is constantly influencing and shaping the world around you. Consider for a moment the nature of inner talking. It is more than just random thoughts passing through your mind. It is an ongoing narrative that you continuously tell yourself about who you are, what you are capable of, and how life unfolds for you. These inner conversations are not idle, they are creative forces. Every time you engage in inner talking, you are feeding your subconscious mind with ideas, assumptions, and beliefs that it then works to bring into reality. The subconscious, being non-selective and infinitely powerful, accepts whatever you feed it and manifests it in your life. If your inner talk is filled with doubt, fear, or limitation, you are unwittingly creating circumstances in your life that reflect these negative states. On the other hand, if your inner talk is imbued with confidence, positivity, and faith, you are creating conditions that align with these qualities. The key is to recognize that your inner world is the starting point for everything you experience in the outer world. Nothing happens in your life that has not first been contemplated in your mind, whether consciously or unconsciously. To fully grasp this, it is important to understand that your mind is like a garden. The thoughts and inner conversations you cultivate are the seeds you plant in this garden. Just as a gardener tends to the soil, waters the plants, and nurtures the growth of the seeds, so too must you tend to your inner world. If you neglect this inner garden and allow weeds of negative thinking to take root, you will reap a harvest of unwanted experiences. But if you carefully choose and cultivate thoughts that are in harmony with your desires, you will see these desires blossom into reality. The law governing inner talking is simple and unerring. What you focus on internally will eventually be reflected externally. This is not a matter of hope or chance, it is a law of consciousness, as reliable as the laws of physics. Just as gravity pulls objects towards the earth, your inner dialogue pulls experiences into your life that match its tone and content. The thoughts you entertain with persistence and emotion become the blueprint for the reality you live in. The more you dwell on certain ideas, the more power they gain to shape your world. This creative process operates continuously, whether you are aware of it or not. Many people go through life unaware of the power they hold, allowing their minds to be filled with random, unproductive, or even destructive thoughts. They wonder why their lives seem filled with struggle, difficulty, or unfulfilled dreams, not realizing that they are the ones creating these conditions through their inner talking. The mind is always active, always shaping, and always creating. The question is not whether you are creating, but what you are creating. The good news is that once you become aware of this power, you can take control of it. You can begin to consciously direct your inner talking in ways that align with the reality you want to experience. Instead of allowing your mind to run on autopilot, filled with fears, doubts, or limitations, you can choose to engage in inner conversations that support and affirm your desires. This is where true mastery begins. By becoming the deliberate creator of your inner world, you become the deliberate creator of your outer world as well. This understanding leads to a profound shift in perspective. You realize that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances, nor are you a victim of fate. Instead, you are the master of your own destiny, shaping your life moment by moment through the thoughts you hold in mind. The power to create is always within you, and it begins with the simple yet profound act of inner talking. To illustrate this point, consider how you feel when you focus on a particular thought or inner conversation. If you dwell on thoughts of fear, lack, or failure, notice how your emotions and body respond. You may feel tense, anxious, or defeated. These feelings are indicators that your inner talk is out of alignment with your true potential. Now shift your focus to thoughts of success, abundance, and joy. Notice the change in your emotions and your physical state. You may feel lighter, more energized, and hopeful. This shift is evidence of the power of inner talking. What you focus on within yourself directly affects your experience of life. It is important to understand that this process is not about wishful thinking or merely saying positive things to yourself. It is about engaging in a deep, meaningful inner dialogue that reflects your true desires and beliefs. It is about consistently aligning your inner talk with the reality you wish to create and persisting in this dialogue until it becomes a natural part of your consciousness. Over time, as you continue to engage in inner conversations that reflect your desired reality, you will begin to see evidence of this reality manifesting in your outer world. This is the essence of creation. Your inner talking is the seed, and your reality is the fruit. There is no separation between the two. What you speak to yourself in the privacy of your mind becomes the substance of your life. This is why it is so important to guard your inner conversations carefully. Speak to yourself as though your dreams have already been realized. Affirm the good, the beautiful, and the true, and watch as these qualities begin to appear in your life. By consciously directing your inner talk, you are exercising the creative power that is inherent within you. You are aligning yourself with the flow of life, and life will respond by bringing to you the experiences, people, and opportunities that reflect your inner state. This is the power of inner talking, and it is available to you at every moment. Use it wisely, and you will see the truth of this in your own life. Awareness of habitual inner conversations is the foundational step in transforming your reality. It is one thing to understand that inner talking shapes your outer world, but it is another to become fully conscious of the conversations you are having with yourself on a daily basis. The truth is that most people are unaware of the vast majority of thoughts running through their minds. These thoughts occur automatically, operating beneath the surface of conscious awareness, and yet they are the very forces that create and sustain the experiences of life. Your mind is constantly engaged in inner talking, even if you don't always notice it. These conversations can be subtle and fleeting, often passing through without much attention. However, they are not without consequence. Whether you are aware of it or not, the content of your inner dialogue is influencing your emotions, decisions, and ultimately the course of your life. Therefore, if you desire to create a new reality, the first task is to bring these inner conversations into the light of awareness. The problem is that many of these habitual inner conversations are negative, limiting, or self-defeating. They are based on old beliefs, past experiences, and conditioned patterns of thought. Over time, these negative dialogues become so ingrained that they operate almost unconsciously, shaping your reality without your direct input. For example, you may find yourself repeatedly thinking, "I'm not good enough, I can never succeed, or things never work out for me." These kinds of thoughts, though subtle, are powerful creators of your life experience, reinforcing the very limitations you wish to overcome. The key to changing your reality begins with noticing these automatic inner conversations. Just as a skilled driver must first become aware of bad driving habits before they can correct them, you must first observe the habitual thoughts that are steering your life in undesirable directions. This requires conscious effort and practice, but it is the critical first step in reclaiming control over your mind, by extension, your life. To start becoming aware of your habitual inner conversations, you must develop a heightened sense of mindfulness. This means paying close attention to the thoughts running through your mind at any given moment, especially during times of stress, frustration, or uncertainty. These moments often trigger your most deeply ingrained negative patterns of inner talking. For example, when faced with a challenge, you might immediately engage in self-defeating dialogue like, "I can't do this," or "this always happens to me." These automatic responses are clues to the deeper beliefs you hold about yourself and your capabilities. As you begin to notice these habitual inner conversations, you may be surprised by how frequently they occur. You may find that much of your thinking is negative, critical, or filled with doubt. This can be an unsettling realization, but it is also empowering. By becoming aware of these thoughts, you have taken the first step toward changing them. You cannot change what you do not acknowledge, and awareness is the doorway to transformation. One powerful way to increase awareness of your inner conversations is through reflection and journaling. At the end of each day, take a few moments to reflect on the dominant thoughts and feelings you experience throughout the day. Write them down, paying particular attention to any patterns of negative or limiting inner talk. What kinds of things did you say to yourself? How did these inner conversations make you feel? How did they influence your actions or decisions? This practice of self-reflection will help you identify the habitual patterns of thought that are shaping your reality. As you become more aware of your inner conversations, you will likely notice that they fall into familiar patterns. For example, you may discover that you tend to engage in negative self-talk when faced with new challenges, or that you habitually worry about the future. These patterns are important to recognize because they reveal the deeper beliefs and assumptions that are running the show behind the scenes. For instance, if you habitually think, "I'm not good enough," it suggests that you hold a core belief about your own inadequacy. This belief, reinforced by habitual inner talking, manifests in your life as experiences of failure or rejection. The next step, once you are aware of these habitual inner conversations, is to question them. Are they really true? Are they serving you? Most importantly, are they aligned with the reality you wish to create? For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," ask yourself, is this really true? Or is it just a belief I've accepted? By questioning your thoughts, you begin to loosen the grip they have on your mind. You create space for new, more empowering inner conversations to take root. Once you have developed an awareness of your habitual inner conversations and begun to question their validity, you can start to deliberately change them. This does not mean forcing yourself to think positive thoughts all the time, but rather gently guiding your inner dialogue in a direction that supports your desires. When you catch yourself engaging in negative or limiting inner talk, you can simply pause and redirect your thoughts. For example, if you find yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," you can consciously choose to replace that thought with a more empowering one, such as, "I am capable and worthy." This process of changing your habitual inner conversations takes time and persistence, but the results are profound. As you begin to shift your inner dialogue from one of limitation and doubt to one of empowerment and possibility, you will notice corresponding changes in your outer world. Opportunities will appear, circumstances will improve, and your overall experience of life will become more aligned with your desires. It's important to remember that your inner conversations are not isolated events. They are part of an ongoing mental narrative that shapes your beliefs, emotions, and actions. The more you engage in a particular type of inner talk, the stronger it becomes, like a muscle that grows with use. Therefore, the goal is not to suppress negative thoughts, but to gradually replace them with more empowering inner conversations through conscious repetition and awareness. One of the challenges you may encounter in this process is the tendency to revert to old patterns of thinking, especially when under stress or pressure. It is easy to fall back into familiar negative inner talk when things are not going as planned. But this is precisely when it is most important to remain mindful of your inner conversations. In moments of difficulty, pause and take a breath. Notice what you are saying to yourself. Are you feeding the problem with negative inner talk, or are you affirming your ability to overcome the challenge? Over time, as you cultivate greater awareness of your inner conversations and practice shifting them toward more positive and empowering directions, you will develop a new habitual way of thinking. This new inner dialogue will reflect your highest aspirations and desires, and it will naturally lead to the creation of a reality that aligns with these ideals. Your outer world will become a reflection of the empowering inner conversations you have cultivated. In essence, becoming aware of your habitual inner conversations is the first and most crucial step in the process of conscious creation. It allows you to observe the patterns of thought that have been shaping your life, question their validity, and begin the process of deliberately creating a new narrative. By shifting your inner conversations, you take control of your creative power and open the door to a life filled with greater fulfillment, joy, and success. The journey begins with awareness, and from there, anything is possible. Deliberately changing your inner dialogue is the next essential step in shaping your reality. Once you have become aware of the habitual inner conversations that dominate your mind, the task is to consciously redirect these thoughts in ways that align with your desires. This is not a passive process. It requires active engagement and consistent effort. However, the power to transform your life lies within this simple yet profound practice of changing the content of your inner conversations. To begin, it's important to understand that your mind operates largely on habits. Over the years, you have developed a set of automatic thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that guide your inner dialogue. These habits are often deeply ingrained and, for the most part, go unnoticed. They influence how you perceive yourself, others, and the world around you. For instance, if you've habitually thought, "I'm not good enough," this thought pattern has likely shaped your self-concept and led to experiences that reinforce the belief. Now that you are aware of these inner conversations, the next step is to deliberately change them. The process of changing your inner dialogue begins with intention. You must make a conscious decision to shift your thinking from negative or limiting patterns to those that are in harmony with the life you want to create. This intention sets the stage for transformation. It signals to your subconscious mind that you are ready to take control of your thoughts and create new patterns of thinking. One of the most effective ways to begin this process is by introducing affirmations into your daily routine. Affirmations are positive, present tense statements that reflect the reality you wish to experience. For example, if your habitual inner dialogue has been filled with self-doubt and insecurity, you can replace these thoughts with affirmations such as, "I am confident, I am capable," or "I am worthy." By repeating these affirmations regularly, you are planting new seeds in the garden of your mind, seeds that will eventually grow into new experiences in your life. However, affirmations are not just about repeating positive phrases mindlessly. For them to be effective, you must engage with them on a deep emotional level. When you speak an affirmation, it is important to feel the truth of it as though it were already a reality. This feeling component is crucial, because your subconscious mind responds not only to words but also to the emotions behind them. If you say, "I am confident," but feel doubtful or insecure, the affirmation will not take root. Instead, when you say, "I am confident," try to embody that feeling of confidence. Imagine what it would be like to truly believe in yourself, to walk through the world with assurance and ease. The more you can evoke the feeling of your affirmation, the more power it will have to reshape your inner dialogue. Changing your inner dialogue also requires persistence. Your old patterns of thinking didn't develop overnight, and they won't be replaced overnight either. It's common to encounter resistance when you first start introducing new thoughts into your mind. The old habits will try to reassert themselves, and you may find yourself slipping back into negative or limiting inner talk. This is perfectly normal, and it's important not to get discouraged. The key is to persist in your new inner dialogue, even when it feels uncomfortable or unnatural at first. Imagine that your mind is like a field, and your thoughts are like well-worn paths through that field. The more you walk a particular path, the deeper and more established it becomes. Over time, it becomes the default route you take without even thinking. This is how your habitual inner conversations develop. But when you begin to change your inner dialogue, you are essentially forging new paths in the field. At first, these new paths may feel unfamiliar and difficult to navigate. You may be tempted to return to the old, well-worn routes. But with persistence, the new paths will become clearer, and eventually they will become your new default routes. One effective technique for changing your inner dialogue is to use a technique called mental rehearsal. Mental rehearsal Mental rehearsal involves vividly imagining yourself in situations where your new inner dialogue is active. For example, if you want to cultivate more confidence in your life, you can mentally rehearse situations where you feel confident. See yourself in your mind's eye, speaking and acting with assurance. Hear yourself engaging in positive inner talk, affirming your worth and capability. The more you practice this mental rehearsal, the more natural it will feel to adopt these new patterns of thinking in real life. It's also helpful to become aware of the triggers that typically lead to negative or limiting inner talk. For example, you may notice that you engage in self-doubt when you face new challenges or step out of your comfort zone. By identifying these triggers, you can prepare yourself to respond differently. The next time you encounter a challenge, instead of automatically falling into a pattern of self-doubt, you can consciously choose to engage in inner talk that supports your success. This might mean saying to yourself, I can handle this, or I am fully capable of overcoming this obstacle. By being mindful of your triggers and deliberately choosing new inner conversations, you are breaking the cycle of negativity and creating a new pattern of empowerment. Another important aspect of changing your inner dialogue is to cultivate self-compassion. Many of us are our own harshest critics, engaging in constant self-judgment and criticism. This harsh inner talk can be incredibly damaging, reinforcing feelings of inadequacy and unworthiness. To change this, you must learn to speak to yourself with kindness and compassion, just as you would speak to a close friend. Instead of criticizing yourself for perceived failures or shortcomings, offer yourself words of encouragement and support. For example, instead of saying, I'm such a failure, you can say, I'm doing my best. And that's enough. This shift in inner dialogue not only helps to change your mental state, but also fosters a sense of inner peace and self-acceptance. It's important to note that changing your inner dialogue is not about denying reality or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about choosing how you respond to those challenges in your mind. You can acknowledge that a situation is difficult while still engaging in inner talk that empowers you to overcome it. For example, instead of saying, this is impossible, you can say, this is challenging, but I'm capable of finding a solution. This kind of inner dialogue helps to keep you in a positive and proactive mindset, even in the face of difficulties. Finally, changing your inner dialogue requires commitment. It's easy to fall back into old habits of thinking, especially when life gets stressful or overwhelming. But the more you practice, the more natural it will become to engage in positive, empowering inner conversations. Over time, these new patterns of thinking will become second nature, and your life will begin to reflect the changes you've made in your inner world. The rewards of deliberately changing your inner dialogue are immense. As you replace negative and limiting inner talk with positive and empowering thoughts, you will begin to see shifts in your outer reality. You will find that you are more confident, more resilient, and more capable of achieving your goals. Opportunities will start to appear, and your relationships will improve. Your overall experience of life will become more aligned with the positive inner dialogue you have cultivated. In essence, the power to transform your life lies within your mind. By deliberately changing your inner dialogue, you are taking control of the creative process that shapes your reality. This is a practice that requires patience, persistence, and self-compassion, but the results are well worth the effort. With time, you will discover that your inner world is a powerful tool for creating the life you truly desire. Persistence in new inner conversations is a crucial aspect of transforming your life and manifesting the reality you desire. Once you've become aware of your habitual inner dialogue and made the deliberate choice to change it, the next challenge is maintaining these new, positive conversations consistently over time. This is where many people falter. They may start with great enthusiasm, replacing negative self-talk with empowering affirmations, but when they don't see immediate results, they lose focus or revert to their old mental patterns. Persistence, however, is key to making these changes stick and allowing them to bear fruit in your outer world. It's essential to recognize that the mind, much like the body, operates on habits. Just as it takes time to develop physical habits, whether good or bad, changing mental habits also requires sustained effort and time. Think of it as retraining your brain. You have spent years, perhaps even decades, engaging in certain patterns of inner conversation. These patterns have shaped your beliefs, actions, and ultimately your life experiences. To undo those patterns and replace them with new ones, persistence is absolutely necessary. Imagine planting a seed in the ground. You know that after you plant it, you cannot expect it to sprout immediately. You must water it, tend to it, and give it time to grow. The same principle applies to your inner conversations. The new thoughts and beliefs you plant in your mind through deliberate inner talking need time to take root. At first, you might not see any noticeable change in your outer world. It may seem like nothing is happening, and this is where many people become discouraged. They abandon their new mental habits, assuming that they are ineffective, and return to their old ways of thinking. But just like with a seed, the growth is happening beneath the surface, and it requires patience and persistence to see it come to fruition. One of the reasons persistence is so important is that the mind tends to revert to what is familiar, especially under stress or pressure. Old mental habits, particularly negative or limiting inner conversations, are like well-worn paths in your brain. They are the default routes your mind takes because they are familiar and comfortable, even if they don't serve you. When you introduce new thoughts, you are essentially forging new neural pathways. These new paths are initially weak and require repetition to become strong and automatic. In the beginning, it may feel like a constant battle to maintain your new inner dialogue. You might catch yourself slipping into old patterns of self-doubt, fear, or negativity. This is completely normal. What matters is how you respond when this happens. Instead of becoming frustrated or giving up, gently bring your attention back to the new inner conversation you are cultivating. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not capable of achieving this," instead of getting discouraged, simply acknowledge the thought and replace it with, "I am capable, and I can find a way." This process of noticing, acknowledging, and redirecting your thoughts is the key to building new mental habits. The more you persist in this practice, the easier it becomes. Over time, your new inner conversations will start to feel more natural, and they will begin to take over as your default mental patterns. But this shift doesn't happen overnight. It requires daily effort and attention. You might think of it as a mental workout. Just as you wouldn't expect to build physical strength by going to the gym once, you can't expect to transform your mental habits with a single effort. Consistency is what leads to lasting change. A helpful approach to maintaining persistence is to incorporate your new inner conversations into your daily routine. You can do this in various ways, such as setting aside for daily affirmations, practicing mindfulness, or engaging in visualization exercises where you mentally rehearse your desired reality. By making these practices a regular part of your day, you are reinforcing your new mental habits and making them stronger. Another important aspect of persistence is maintaining your focus on your desired outcome, even when external circumstances seem unchanged. This can be challenging, especially if you are eager to see immediate results. It's easy to get discouraged when the outer world doesn't immediately reflect the changes you are making within. But this is where persistence truly comes into play. Remember that your outer reality is a reflection of your inner state, and there is often a time lag between the changes you make in your mind and the manifestation of those changes in your physical world. It's important to trust that your new inner conversations are working, even when you don't see evidence of it right away. The key is to keep your attention on your desired outcome and to persist in your new way of thinking, regardless of what is happening around you. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending that challenges don't exist. Rather, it's about holding firm to your inner vision and continuing to cultivate the thoughts, beliefs, and feelings that align with that vision, knowing that the outer world will eventually catch up. One way to stay persistent is to track your progress, even if the changes are subtle. Pay attention to how you feel when you engage in your new inner conversations. Do you notice a shift in your emotional state? Do you feel more empowered, hopeful, or calm? These emotional shifts are important markers of progress, even if the external changes have not yet fully materialized. Celebrate these small victories as signs that your new inner dialogue is taking root. Additionally, persistence requires patience with yourself. Changing long-standing mental habits is not easy, and there will be moments when you fall back into old patterns. When this happens, it's important not to be hard on yourself or to give up. Instead, approach yourself with compassion and understanding. Recognize that growth is a process, and setbacks are a natural part of that process. What matters is that you continue to return to your new inner conversations, even after moments of doubt or frustration. Another helpful tool for maintaining persistence is to surround yourself with positive influences. This can include reading books, listening to podcasts, or spending time with people who inspire and uplift you. When you are surrounded by positivity, it becomes easier to maintain your own inner dialogue in a positive direction. These external influences can serve as reminders of your own power and potential, helping you to stay focused on your new mental habits. It's also important to remember that persistence doesn't mean forcing yourself to be positive all the time. Life will present challenges, and it's natural to experience a range of emotions. The goal is not to suppress negative emotions, but to be mindful of your inner dialogue and to choose thoughts that support your growth and empowerment. When difficult emotions arise, acknowledge them, but don't allow them to dominate your thinking. Instead, gently guide your inner conversation back to one that reflects your desired reality. As you persist in your new inner conversations, you will start to notice changes in your outer world. Opportunities will appear, relationships will improve, and circumstances will begin to shift in your favor. These changes might be gradual at first, but as you continue to strengthen your new mental habits, the results will become more noticeable and impactful. This is the power of persistence. By consistently engaging in inner conversations that align with your desires, you are reprogramming your subconscious mind and setting the stage for the life you want to create. Persistence in new inner conversations is the key to lasting transformation. It is through repeated effort, focus, and patience that you can retrain your mind and create the reality you desire. While the journey may not always be easy, the rewards are immense. By staying committed to your new inner dialogue, you will gradually reshape your inner world, and in time, your outer world will reflect the positive changes you have made. Trust in the process of manifestation is a fundamental aspect of transforming your inner world into your desired reality. Manifestation, in essence, is the unfolding of your inner beliefs, thoughts, and emotions into the physical world. However, for many people, the challenge lies not in understanding the concept of manifestation, but in having faith in the process, especially when results don't appear immediately or when life presents obstacles. Trust is essential because manifestation is not always instantaneous. It often requires time, persistence, and a belief that the changes you seek are indeed coming into being. At the core of manifestation is the idea that your thoughts and emotions create your reality. This means that whatever you consistently focus on, believe in, and feel deeply about will eventually become your experience. But manifestation isn't a simple one-step process where you think a thought and immediately see its physical counterpart. There is a natural gestation period during which your desires and intentions are being shaped in the unseen realms before they can appear in the physical world. This is where trust becomes crucial. When you first begin working with the principles of manifestation, you may feel excitement and optimism about the possibilities of creating your dream life. You might start engaging in positive inner conversations, visualizing your desired outcomes, and focusing on new empowering beliefs. However, if you don't see immediate changes, doubt can easily creep in. You might start to wonder whether manifestation really works or if you're doing something wrong. This doubt is normal, but it can undermine the entire process if it's allowed to take hold. Trusting the process means believing that the changes you're making in your inner world will, in time, manifest in your outer world, even if there's no immediate evidence to support that belief. It's about maintaining your focus and faith, even when circumstances don't yet reflect the reality you desire. This requires patience and a deep understanding that the universe operates on its own timeline, not necessarily on the one you might prefer. But one way to cultivate trust in the process of manifestation is by recognizing that everything in life unfolds according to natural laws. Just as there is a time for planting seeds, a time for growth, and a time for harvest, so too is there a natural progression in the manifestation of your desires. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't dig it up the next day expecting it to have fully grown. You understand that it needs time to germinate, to be nourished by the soil, water, and sunlight, and to grow gradually into a plant. The same principle applies to the seeds of your desires. You plant them in your mind through your thoughts and inner conversations, and they need time to take root and grow before they can fully manifest in your life. Trusting the process also means recognizing that setbacks or delays don't necessarily mean failure. Sometimes the path to manifestation involves detours or challenges that are actually necessary for your growth and ultimate success. These challenges may be opportunities for you to develop qualities such as patience, resilience, or clarity. They may even be a way for the universe to guide you towards something even better than what you originally imagined. Trusting the process means understanding that everything is unfolding for your highest good, even if it doesn't always appear that way in the moment. Another important aspect of trusting the process of manifestation is letting go of the need for control. While it's important to have a clear vision of what you want to manifest and to engage in positive inner conversations that support that vision, it's equally important to release the need to micromanage how and when it will happen. This is where many people struggle, because they feel the need to control every detail of how their desires will come to fruition. But the truth is, the universe often has a much broader perspective than we do. It knows the most efficient and harmonious way to bring our desires to life, and it may not always align with our limited view. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up on your desires, rather. It means releasing the attachment to specific outcomes or timelines. It's about trusting that the universe knows the perfect timing and method for your manifestation to unfold. This requires surrendering the need to force things to happen and instead allowing them to happen naturally. When you trust the process, you're able to stay open to opportunities, guidance, and inspired actions that may come your way, even if they're different from what you initially expected. It's also helpful to remember that the process of manifestation is not purely about the end result, it's about who you become in the process. Manifestation is a journey of personal growth and self-discovery. As you work on aligning your inner thoughts and beliefs with your desires, you are also evolving as a person. You are learning to think in new ways, to cultivate positive emotions, and to trust in your own creative power. These internal shifts are just as important as the external manifestations you are working toward. Trusting the process means appreciating the journey itself, not just the destination. To deepen your trust in the process, it can be beneficial to reflect on past experiences where you successfully manifested something in your life. Think about times when you wanted something, and although it didn't happen immediately, it eventually came to fruition in ways that were even better than you could have planned. These past successes serve as evidence that manifestation works, and they can reinforce your faith in the current process. Another way to strengthen your trust is by practicing gratitude for what you already have. Gratitude is a powerful vibration that aligns you with the energy of abundance and fulfillment. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you shift your attention away from lack or doubt, and you reinforce the belief that good things are constantly flowing into your life. This creates an energetic environment that supports the process of manifestation and helps you maintain a positive mindset while waiting for your desires to materialize. It's also important to maintain a sense of calm and detachment as you trust the process. When you become overly anxious or stressed about whether your desires will manifest, you create resistance in your mind and energy field. This resistance can actually block the manifestation process because it sends a message of doubt or lack to the universe. On the other hand, when you approach manifestation with a calm, trusting attitude, you allow things to flow more easily. You become a magnet for the very experiences and opportunities you seek because you are in a state of relaxed openness. Trusting the process also means trusting yourself. You are the creator of your reality, and you have the power to shape your life through your thoughts, beliefs, and actions. By trusting in your own ability to manifest, you reinforce your connection to your inner power. This self-trust is essential because it empowers you to stay committed to your vision, even in the face of challenges or delays. It reminds you that you are capable of creating the life you desire and that the universe is always working in your favor. Trusting the process of manifestation is about maintaining faith in the unseen forces that are bringing your desires to life. It involves understanding the natural timing of the universe, letting go of the need for control, and staying focused on your inner work, even when external results are not immediately visible. It's about appreciating the journey of growth and transformation that accompanies the process of manifestation and recognizing that every step, even the difficult ones, is leading you closer to your desired reality. Trust, patience, and persistence are the keys to successfully manifesting the life you truly want. Consistency in inner dialogue practice is the final, yet perhaps most crucial, key to manifesting the life you desire. While it's important to become aware of your habitual inner conversations, deliberately change them, persist in your new thinking, and trust the process, none of this will create lasting change unless you practice consistently. Consistency is the glue that holds all the other steps together. It's the ongoing, repetitive application of these principles that rewires your mind, reshapes your beliefs, and ultimately transforms your reality. Many people struggle with consistency because they often expect immediate results. They may start with enthusiasm, consciously engaging in positive inner conversations for a few days or weeks, but when they don't see quick changes in their external world, they lose motivation. However, just as with any worthwhile endeavor, whether it's learning a new skill, building physical strength, or developing a habit, consistent practice over time is what leads to mastery and real, lasting results. The same is true when it comes to inner dialogue practice. Your mind is like a muscle. To strengthen it and create new mental habits, you must exercise it regularly. Just as going to the gym once won't result in a transformed body, changing your inner conversations for a few days won't completely transform your reality. The process requires daily attention, and it's this consistent effort that eventually rewires your brain. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections, proves that our thoughts and beliefs are malleable, but it also requires repetition to create lasting change. Imagine, for a moment, that you are learning to play the piano. In the beginning, every note and chord requires concentration, and mistakes are inevitable. But through regular practice, your fingers begin to move more fluidly, and what once seemed difficult becomes second nature. The same is true of your inner dialogue. At first, it may feel awkward or forced to replace negative thoughts with positive ones. You may catch yourself falling back into old patterns, especially in challenging situations. But the more you practice, the easier it becomes to maintain positive and empowering inner conversations, even in the face of adversity. Consistency also creates momentum. In the beginning, it may feel like your efforts aren't producing much change, but over time, the cumulative effect of your daily practice builds up. Each day that you engage in positive inner dialogue strengthens the new mental pathways you are creating. Eventually, the scales tip, and your new thoughts and beliefs become more dominant than the old ones. This momentum then begins to show up in your outer world in the form of new opportunities, improved relationships, greater confidence, and a general sense of well-being. One of the reasons consistency is so important is that it allows you to reprogram your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind operates based on repetition and emotion. It is constantly listening to the inner conversations you have, whether you are aware of them or not, and it takes those repeated thoughts as truth. Over time, the thoughts you engage in consistently, whether positive or negative, sink into the subconscious and become your default mode of thinking. By practicing new, empowering inner conversations consistently, you are feeding your subconscious mind with the beliefs and assumptions that align with the reality you want to create. For example, if you want to manifest success in your career, it's not enough to think positively about your abilities once or twice. You must consistently engage in inner conversations that affirm your success, such as "I am capable, opportunities flow to me easily," or "I excel in everything I do" over time. These thoughts will become deeply ingrained in your subconscious, and you will start to notice that your actions, decisions, and opportunities begin to align with these beliefs. Your outer world will eventually reflect the inner reality you've been cultivating through consistent practice. Consistency also helps to combat the natural tendency of the mind to revert to old patterns, especially when under stress or pressure. When you're faced with challenges or setbacks, it's easy to fall back into negative thinking or old, limiting beliefs. However, when you've been consistent in practicing positive inner conversations, these new thoughts become a natural part of your mental landscape. Instead of automatically slipping into fear, doubt, or negativity, your mind will be more likely to respond with resilience, confidence, and optimism. This doesn't happen overnight, but through consistent practice, you train your mind to default to empowering thoughts, even in difficult situations. Another benefit of consistency is that it reinforces your belief in the power of your inner dialogue. When you engage in positive inner conversations regularly and begin to see the corresponding shifts in your outer world, your confidence in the process grows. This creates a positive feedback loop. The more you practice and see results, the more motivated you are to continue, and the easier it becomes to maintain your new mental habits. Over time, your belief in your ability to shape your reality through your thoughts becomes unshakable. And this belief is a key ingredient in successful manifestation. Incorporating consistency into your inner dialogue practice doesn't have to be complicated. It simply means making a commitment to engage in positive inner conversations every day, no matter what. This can be done through affirmations, visualization, or simply paying attention to the thoughts you are thinking throughout the day. The key is to make it a regular part of your routine, just like brushing your teeth or eating meals. The more consistent you are, the more deeply these new thoughts will take root in your mind. One practical way to ensure consistency is to set aside specific times each day for inner dialogue practice. For example, you might begin each morning with a few minutes of affirmations or visualization, focusing on the life you want to create. Throughout the day, you can take brief mental breaks to check in with yourself and observe your thoughts. Are they in alignment with your desires? Or are they drifting into old patterns of doubt or negativity? If you notice your thoughts wandering, gently guide them back to the positive, empowering inner conversations you are cultivating. Consistency also involves staying committed to the practice even when it feels like progress is slow. There will be days when your mind seems resistant to change, or when your outer circumstances seem unchanged despite your efforts. These are the moments when consistency matters most. It's easy to stay positive when everything is going well, but the real transformation happens when you persist in your new inner conversations, even when it's challenging. By maintaining your practice in the face of doubt or difficulty, you build mental resilience and reinforce your belief in your ability to create the life you desire. Another important aspect of consistency is being patient with yourself. Changing your inner dialogue is a process, and it takes time. There will be moments when you fall back into old patterns, and that's okay. The key is not to judge yourself or give up, but to gently return to your practice. Each time you catch yourself engaging in negative or limiting inner talk, view it as an opportunity to strengthen your new mental habits. Over time, the more consistently you engage in positive inner conversations, the fewer slip-ups you will experience, and the easier it will be to maintain your new way of thinking. Consistency in inner dialogue practice is essential for creating lasting change. It is the daily, ongoing application of positive inner conversations that rewires your mind, reshapes your beliefs, and ultimately transforms your reality. Through consistent practice, you build momentum, reprogram your subconscious, and strengthen your ability to maintain empowering thoughts, even in challenging situations. By making inner dialogue practice a regular part of your routine and staying committed to the process, you ensure that the positive changes you are creating in your mind will eventually manifest in your outer world. In conclusion, the journey of transforming your reality through inner talking is a deeply personal and powerful process. It begins with the awareness of the habitual conversations you've been having with yourself and moves toward deliberate change, where you take control of your thoughts and direct them toward what you truly desire. Persistence and consistency are key. By continuously engaging in new inner conversations. Even in the face of challenges, you gradually reshape your subconscious mind. Trust in the process is essential, as manifestation takes time and often unfolds in ways you cannot immediately see. Ultimately, the power to create the life you want lies within you, and it is accessed through the practice of consistent, positive, and intentional inner dialogue. As you persist in these new conversations, you will begin to witness a transformation in your outer world that mirrors the changes you have made within. Trust in your ability to manifest your desires, and know that with time, patience, and unwavering commitment, you can shape your reality in alignment with your highest aspirations.